Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club, the place investors go to learn tips, tricks, and stories from other investors in the field. If you feel we provide value to you, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, share whatever it may be. And if you'd like for us to cover a specific topic, let us know in the comments or reach out to us through our website. Today we have a very special guest, so buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are back. Marshall, Dan, thank you guys very much for joining. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing great.
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Awesome. I love it. To get us started, why don't you guys give yourselves a little bit of an introduction, who you are, where you're from, and how you got started in real estate in the first place?
Sure. Yeah, this is Marshall speaking here. So I got started as a broker agent about 5.5 years ago out of Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. So I've been mainly practicing as a broker there. I'm from Chicago originally. I had my license for a little while in rural Colorado and practiced out there as well. And then in the last couple of years, I developed this platform called Broker Assist that has added a lot of value to agents and brokers for referral networking nationwide, as well as an expanded gig economy for real estate agents to get coverage on any deal-specific tasks they might need from fellow agents and brokers in their brokerage firms. So it's been a little bit of brokers, a little bit of technology, and investment as well.
Yeah, and this is Dan. I have 20 plus years in real estate. I was always interested in real estate as a kid. My grandfather was a big real estate investor in Chicago, and he taught us the value of investment in real estate. And over the years, as I grew my investment portfolio, I knew I needed to add real estate. So 20 plus years ago, I bought my first property, single family home. I did rehab, and then I got addicted to that and have done multifamily and other large structures as well. So it's been a 20 plus year fascination with real estate. I'm still learning a ton. And also now in real estate development around the software development. And it's been, really wonderful. I have a background in technology. I worked at IBM for 20 plus years. I'm the current chief revenue officer of Nerdery, a major digital innovator and transformation company with companies like Google and Verizon and others as our clients. So the real estate market's always looking for new invention. And when Marshall came with this idea around real estate technology, I thought, yeah, let's do it. So I'm the founding advisor of Broker Assist with him as well.
I love it. So you guys, between the two of you, you guys kind of spanned pretty much everything that you can do, except for it sounds like lending in real estate. You got Marshall on your side. You're a broker, and then you also started Broker Assist, which is PropTech. And then Dan, It sounds like you've been buying holds and development and rehabs for 20 years now.
Yes. Yeah, and I just started my first investment property recently, a 3-flat in Colorado. So it's been, quite an interesting project, learning a little bit of handyman work there too. So a little bit of everything in real estate here. Yeah.
Nice. You're doing the work yourself?
A little bit here and there. I'm learning as we go.
Mostly contracting though.
Yeah, the first one is always the hardest one, that's for sure.
Right. For sure.
Awesome.
I'm learning a lot.
So the thing that kind of brings you two together is the PropTech. It is the software that you guys are developing together. You guys each have your own separate businesses, and then the thing that ties you together is that PropTech. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. I love it. So I kind of want to. We all know that like real estate, there's a spectrum or a process that happens when you start investing, and the very beginning of that sequence is finding the property. So how I really like to start these out is figure out, how it is exactly you guys go about finding the properties. Marshall, it sounds like you're more on the broker's side, so this is more a question pointed towards Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great question. I think that the first thing to do is understand what you want to invest in as far as your portfolio. Is it a single family home? Is it a multifamily? Is it a mixed use or is it a commercial only? And that'll help understand what the kind of return you expect on it is. And obviously, I kind of did in reverse order. The highest yield would be a single family home that you want to go for. And then the lowest risk has been commercial, honestly, up until COVID, which I think has changed significantly now with much commercial space available and having significant challenges in that area. So you first have to know what that risk profile looks like in return, and then really understand what area. So one, what type of investment, then two, what area you want to invest in. Are you comfortable in a remote investment that you would be likely having a manager work on the property for you, leasing the space, et cetera? Or would you rather be more hands-on and closer to that asset that you're going to invest in? I think location is really important. And then the third is, do you want to do it by yourself or with partners? And those are the top three things that I look at as a piece of real estate investment. Is, again, what type of property will help to determine the return, where that investment will be. And then again, will you have a partner or will you do it by yourself?
Gotcha. I love it. And partnerships is definitely one of the most, the thing that brings the most reward to a business, and it can also be the thing that that kind of tears a business down when you don't have a good partnership set up. Is there any pieces of advice you can give on the end of partnerships? I'm sure if you've been in the business long enough, you've seen good partnerships, bad partnerships. So kind of go into that, and how do you identify people that you really feel like, what makes a good partnership?
Yeah, that's a great question. Partnerships are, if you decide to go into real estate investment with a partner, you're really going to have to decide on what each of your roles are going to be. I've seen in my experience individual investments with silent partners. Those honestly tend to be the best because you're going to continue to be the decision maker. And then that person has put the money in and will be a silent partner and will not control the decision making in that investment. They may have some exit terms that you'll want to agree to, but those kind of work really well because they trust who you are, they trust your experience. Those tend to be for more mature investors that have the ability to gain capital from sources like friends, family, and maybe even qualified investors too. I would say the next one that I think is more common are people that have shared partnership decision making, shared capital requirements. Those tend to be the hardest because you do have to come with a expectation of what each roles are going to be. And if you're bringing both skill sets are similar, I think that's a challenge because then you start to headbutt. But if one wants to take care of the development of the increase in the value of the property, another wants to handle the business side of it, such as paying the bills, make sure the rent is paid, and identifying the right tenants, that tends to work out really well. And that partnership should be spelled out. Even if it's a really close friend or a family member, I would highly recommend that there still be a partnership agreement that's very clear in each of your roles and responsibilities. And then I've seen partnerships as fractional partnerships too, where someone says, hey, look, I'm just going to invest in a portion of it, but I also want to say so in it. And that could be where you have 3 or more investors who will come in and identify a property together. Those tend to work out really well when they have different skill sets. Some may bring more capital than others. Others may do more of the hands-on work, and others may, do more of the advising from a distance. Especially having someone local close to that property may be the reason why you might want to go to a third investor. If there's 2 primary investors that are bringing most of the money and skill, but then want to have somebody that has some skin in the game, if you will, maybe a local investor that's closer to the property. So those are the types of partnership agreements that I've seen work really well. And when you don't set the expectations up early, they can go wrong.
Gotcha. I love that. And expectations are definitely key. And it sounds like it all kind of boils down to how decisions are made, and really, getting in sync on how decisions will be made, whether one person will be silent, who will be doing what, and getting that all up front before you actually proceed into the partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. And then have clear understanding of the financial outcomes that you desire as investors. So there's not some, mismatch on something happening and then someone being unexpectedly, wanting to exit the partnership, which could really jeopardize the overall investment.
Absolutely. So this one applies to both of you guys. We were talking about the very beginning of the process of investing in a real estate, and that is finding the right deal. And even before or I guess it would be after you identify your criteria, you have to start bringing in the leads. This is applicable to both, being an agent, broker, and an investor. So how do you guys go about bringing in leads for your businesses? Do you do digital marketing? Do you do yellow letters? How is it that you go about finding those?
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, traditionally, a lot of my businesses come from referrals. So extending, through past clients, family, and friends, and letting everyone know, right? Hey, I'm in business. Call on me when you need something. I think that's a huge part of our business that's under leveraged by a lot of agents and brokers. I'd say too, we when it comes to finding investment property, a lot of it is some spreadsheet work, right? And looking at cap rates and all sorts of metrics, rents, and finding out all that information, and following the MLS very closely is really how I've done it, at least on this first property of mine. And then, when it comes to our, technology business, it's been a little combination of everything. That's a whole nother beast when it comes to marketing, especially as a double-sided marketplace that we're developing. Being out, I think the biggest success we've had with that, and even as a broker agent, is the shaking of hands. Like I said, putting yourself out there, going to the conferences, going to the networking events locally and nationally with NAR, and shaking hands and getting to know other investors. And they may have the next opportunity, right? And that shows up. So that's where, networking has played a huge role in our success, whether it's with Broker Assist and this technology, as a broker agent, as an investor, finding that next big deal. Just hearing Colorado, even just at it was a film festival in Telluride, meeting a big time real estate investor who's out of Utah. And others, developing and growing our network there for further investment capabilities with angel investors and such. So I think that's a big part of it, is just putting yourself out there and learning in that process, for me at least. Yeah.
I love it. Yep. And I think your words have been echoed across every single episode I've had, is that networking and relationships pretty much are the crux of real estate. And it's not only it's not only the way to further your deals, it's also the way to find the deals. So love that you mentioned that. So I want to jump here and switch gears just a little bit. You guys mentioned that you are, the thing that ties you guys together is the software that you're developing. And so I want to dive into that just a bit and understand, what it is that your software does, and how it can be, investors, and there's brokers that listen to this podcast as well, how they can utilize that platform.
Sure. So Broker Assist is the new collaboration and referral network for real estate agents and brokers. So we have essentially built out what is considered the gig economy for real estate professionals. So similar to like all these gig economies out there, Uber and Grubhub and all these things where, we have these double-sided marketplaces, people seeking help, other people, pitching in, right, and delivering a service. So with real estate agents and brokers, what we found working as realtors ourselves is there's this highly disintegrated system in place when agents and brokers need assistance from each other for last-minute showings, inspections, appraisals, final walkthroughs, any deal-specific task, open houses that come up, and maybe they're out of town or across town and can't make it. Something comes up last minute, and we need to delight our clients on demand, all right? And typically mobile first. As realtors, we have moved to a mobile first technology across our different platforms and like whether it's CRMs and whatnot. So we put it all together in one spot where you can seek assistance in the gig economy, hire other fellow realtors within your firm if you want to keep it in-house. That is, of course, available through our white label solutions. And then outside of firms as well for other virtual firms that exist nowadays. And then the other side of it is the referral networking piece, which is nationwide. We do not charge any commissions on our referral networking. We're simply a connection source. So agents and brokers can post for on-demand assistance on a referral, meaning, hey, I'm in Chicago, I have a referral going to New York, and I'd like to get connected in my meeting with that client who is moving in 45 days now that we're under contract and needs to find a place. So we don't lose out, which typically we lose out big time on those referrals because our clients go find an agent, on Zillow or some other platform, and we don't ever get that 30% cut of that referral commission. So it provides that on-demand mobile-first technology for that networking. Yet again, networking, a huge piece of real estate, whether you're an investor or broker owner, agent, it's essential. So we put it all together in one platform. Payments are integrated if you'd like to pay directly through the app, because what we've also found is the big sticky point is the chasing down checks and cash still, instead of having it in one spot, in one app. And then, of course, reducing our email noise, which is at a brokerage firm. A lot of our white labels, that's a huge selling point, is that they get rid of so much email noise from all these jobs and assistance that agents, partake in, and as well as the referral piece that we send emails out on all the time. So there's a lot to it. And of course, you can visit our website for more on that, brokerassist.com.
Wow, I really like that idea. So it's a gig economy for the real estate industry, and I'm assuming this can be applied also to investors who are doing FSBO, who are trying to sell their own houses, and so many times you're on the job or something comes up and you just can't get to the property when you need to be showing it, and so they can use your app to find somebody to go out and basically step in to where they're kind of dropping the ball. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have definitely looked at expanding it to that. I mean, currently right now when you sign up, we're asking that everyone is licensed real estate professional. So if you are, great. Yes. If you happen to be also licensed and an investor, absolutely. And if you're not licensed, feel free to shoot us an email, support@brokerassist.com, and I will set you up for sure for investors. We're willing to customize it in that fashion because it is something we know is a need. We haven't seen a huge need for it yet because we're only in the marketplace now for about 5 months. So, but we're definitely open, to expanding that. I love that idea. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope your app sees success because I can definitely see the potential there. I've tried to sell my own houses before, FSBO style. And things come up, and it would have been nice to have that kind of app in my back pocket at that point.
Right. Have that virtual assistant. Yeah, anytime you need. Yeah, that's the one.
I love it. So we try to keep these episodes to around 20 to 25 minutes. So we're running up to the end here so quick. But before we do, I like to hear a little bit experiences from the two of you. We love hearing stories from in your real estate career. And we all know that real estate, it's a roller coaster. You got your ups, your downs. So kind of take us to one of the periods in your career that was like, it was the most difficult, one of the troughs that you've experienced. And what was the lesson that you pulled out of that?
Yeah, this is Dan. I could tell you the trough would definitely have been 2008 when the real estate market collapsed on itself because of the mortgage crisis. And what that did was remove both supply and demand, which is really interesting. And it really dried up the sources of funding as well. So properties that were to have been refinanced because, say, they were commercial loans, and during that time were nearly impossible to get financing for. And so many people had, to lose their commercial properties, even if they were cash flow positive and, returning great cap rates. Banks just weren't willing to lend. So unfortunately, myself and others in that space lost, significant amount of capital due to not only the decrease in the, overall valuation of the property, but also in the ability for you to continue that funding arrangement with banks. So it was definitely a struggle. What I learned from that, was, really stay very close to the lender and understand early on what their capabilities are, and if it is going to be a portfolio loan and kept in their house, what that looks like and what their requirements of capital are going forward. Because, there will always be a dip in real estate every 10 to 20 years. So understanding what those needs are from your capital provider is super important. And when that loan comes anew, what your partners are willing to do too, because they may also be strapped for cash and look for that cash to come out of that property. So that was the lesson I learned. Stay close to your lender and be very tied to your partners on each of the deals, because that will become the test, that partnership and what you've come to agreement on. And then the high points, of course, have been buying at points that are low, right? Even though they're very tight on capital, because you stay close to those bankers and people to provide the capital and other investors, they said, you know what, let's go out and look for something. Those were some of the best times. So even the worst times,
low rates.
Low rates. So even the worst times, you can turn around and say, hey, look, let's take advantage of this. So those are my two.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, and I can pitch in here a little bit. I mean, I haven't been in the investment side as long. Right now I'd say the high is the low rates, like I mentioned there. That was pretty exciting. Even in the midst of all this craziness. But I'd say the challenges I've had as a broker, and then also with this technology business in the last year and a half, is more so around building the right, the network, right? And like I said, putting yourself out there. But what I've learned is just persevering and never giving up on those email follow-ups, phone call follow-ups. There are a few instances where I followed up probably for 8 months regularly, and it finally stuck, and we got an amazing, customized white label opportunity that we're, working. So there's a lot of just perseverance involved in real estate, of course, whether it's buying and holding, right, and not getting scared, and just persevering through the ups and downs in the market, as well as just in, that next big deal that you're trying to secure. So, that's probably what I have from my experience. Yeah.
I love it. And 8 months, that is, first of all, kudos to you, because following up for 8 months, it's a hard thing just to remember that long. It's a very difficult thing, but
right. Yeah. I got to put that in the calendar.
It was even before the business was launched. It was that early.
I just, every time I followed up and never heard back, I would just move it to the next month. And every 3 weeks to a month, I would just keep moving it. And finally, you know what? They're like, hey, thanks for Oh no, yeah, I've been doing it for a year now. So sure thing, let's go.
That is great. That's great. And I mean, it's absolutely true. We've seen it in our own business where we're following up with sellers, and at one point they're like, yeah, we'll think about it. Check up with us in a week, and we check up in a week, and then a month, and then another month, and I think the last one is our longest is 6, so not 8, but it's pretty close. But somebody did recently say they wanted to go forward. So
I'd love to hear it.
yep,
That's amazing. I love it.
Exactly.
Pays off.
Yep. All right. Well, before we close out here, why don't each of you guys just give us one piece of advice? You both have been in the business for quite some time, and so you've been through the ups, you've been through the downs. So if you were to go back to yourself starting out, however many years ago, and just say, a one-liner, one piece of advice, follow this to see success in the future, what would that piece of advice be?
Yeah, my piece of advice is to stick to your values, and that means personal values as far as what kind of deals you want to get involved in, and then also your values as a business person. Follow that gut instinct around your values, because that'll be the absolute critical part of when things go wrong. That you stick to those values, you'll be able to rectify it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I was initially, the first thing that comes to mind is very similar: follow your heart. I think that's big, whether you call it your heart, your intuition, your gut, whatever it is. When it's building those partnerships at the beginning, and following through with your, all of that, persevering. I'd say, really, I love this quote from it's Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Winners never quit and quitters never win. And I've always remembered that when it does get tough and doesn't seem like you're moving anywhere. And then, just around the corner with that next follow through, something happens. So those two pieces of advice, I'd say, have worked some wonders for us. So yeah, much success to everyone.
Stick to your values and never give up. Those two pieces of advice that you can't go wrong with.
Yeah,
awesome.
For sure.
So you guys, I'm sure I can speak for everybody listening and watching. We appreciate you coming on here and sharing some of your wisdom. Before we sign off, though, if somebody did want to get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can email me directly at Marshall with 2 L's at brokerassist.com. And that works. And check out our website as well there, brokerassist.com. If you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to, discuss. And, Dan, I can forward anything to Dan as well. So.
All right, there you go. So check out brokerassist.com, and I'll also put his LinkedIn profile in the show notes. So if anybody listening or watching wants to get in contact, go there and reach out to Marshall, and he can get you in contact with Dan. Again, Thank you guys very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And for everybody listening and watching, we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jason. It was wonderful to be here.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investing Club. If you feel we provided value, we would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends online, whatever it may be. If you'd like to share or partner with us on an investment deal, we are always looking for quality projects. Go to www.therealestateinvestingclub.com to get in contact with one of our partners. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, Go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.